Trump tells Schumer, "Go to hell," as Senate recess begins without nominee deal. Imagine a political showdown where tensions run so high that one leader publicly tells another to go to hell. This is exactly what happened when President Donald Trump lashed out at Senate Democratic leader Chuck Schumer on social media, effectively ending negotiations over Trump's nominees. But here's where it gets controversial. Trump's harsh words came after days of intense talks aimed at resolving the standoff and allowing the Senate to recess. Sources close to the negotiations revealed that Senate Republican leader John Thune, Schumer, and the White House had been in a flurry of discussions to break the deadlock. Schumer had made several demands, including the release of federal funds for various programs like the National Institutes of Health and foreign aid, and a promise from Trump not to push through additional legislation that would cut federal funding. However, Trump found Schumer's demands egregious and unprecedented, as he stated in his social media post. Trump's message was clear. He wanted the Senate to confirm his nominees, even if it meant skipping the August recess. His post indicated that he was unwilling to meet the Democrats' terms. In his post, Trump directed Republicans to reject Schumer's offer, return home, and explain to their constituents why Democrats were bad people and why Republicans were doing a great job for the country. He even threw in a playful, "Have a great recess." On the Senate floor that night, Thune requested unanimous consent to vote on a few nominations and then adjourn for a month. Democrats, in the minority, had been delaying the confirmation of Trump's lower-level nominees, forcing Thune to keep the Senate in session over the weekend. Schumer, under pressure from his party, had made multiple demands to expedite the confirmation process. He wanted the release of federal funds and a commitment from Trump not to push through another package of funding cuts, known as rescissions. A $9 billion package of such cuts had been approved earlier that summer. At a news conference, Schumer expressed his frustration, stating that Democrats were serious about finding a reasonable path for bipartisan consideration of Trump's nominees. However, he accused Trump of throwing a tantrum and ending the negotiations prematurely. "Is this the art of the deal?" Schumer asked, holding up a poster of Trump's social media post. Schumer refused to provide specifics about the negotiations, but acknowledged that both sides had been making progress on many issues before Trump pulled the rug out from under people. The White House and Thune were reached out to for comment, but no responses were provided. This political drama underscores the complex and often contentious nature of Senate proceedings, where even the most basic negotiations can turn into high-stakes confrontations. As the Senate recesses, the question remains, will Trump and Schumer be able to find common ground in the future, or will such confrontations become the new norm? Senate Showdown: Trump versus Democrats on nominee approval. The Senate has erupted into a heated battleground, with tensions so high you can practically feel the gridlock from across the country. Both major parties are sharpening their positions over President Donald Trump's long list of nominees, and the stakes have never been higher. Lawmakers, who are expecting to be home by now, find themselves still in Washington, locked in fierce negotiation, all because of a nomination standoff that shows no signs of breaking. But here's where it gets controversial. President Trump is making an all-or-nothing push, insisting that Congress stay put and approve every one of his more than 150 nominees, a demand that's pushing senators to their limits. Democrats, on the other hand, aren't budging an inch, maintaining what many describe as a historic blockade to halt the president's picks. According to Senate Majority Leader John Thune, the lack of progress is becoming disheartening. "The Democrats have dug in and their approach just isn't working," he shared. Behind closed doors, negotiations continue. Both Thune and Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer had initial conversations, but further talks have mostly been indirect, using go-betweens to try and break the deadlock. The Republican side is searching for a compromise. They're proposing that nominees who received bipartisan support in committee get rapid floor votes. Democrats, however, aren't biting. And this is the part most people miss. Democrats are leveraging their position not only for influence over nominees, but also to secure deals on funding currently withheld by the White House. they're pushing for assurances against future budget rescissions or rollbacks as a critical deadline to fund the government looms. Their counterproposal allows some nominees to proceed now, with the rest potentially moving forward in the fall. Meanwhile, President Trump, addressing supporters from his Bedminster Golf Club, is rallying Republicans to fight on, over the weekend and as long as needed, to secure the appointments necessary to make America great again. He's painted Democrats as obstructionists, suggesting that even famed historical figures like George Washington or Abraham Lincoln would struggle for confirmation under this Senate. Here's an eye-opener. As is now, Republicans have successfully confirmed more than 100 Trump nominees, yet only one, Secretary of State Marco Rubio, advanced to the floor without objection. Not a single nominee has gotten the kind of easy, unopposed, or voice vote treatment that used to be common in the Senate. 4 years ago at this point, 49 of President Biden's nominees had already sailed through by voice vote. This deadlock leaves Republicans considering 3 dramatic options. First, reach a deal with Democrats, which everyone seems to prefer. Second, adjourn the Senate early so Trump could potentially make recess appointments, a workaround that would surely inflame the opposition. And third, the so-called nuclear option, forcibly changing the Senate's rules to allow confirmations to proceed. Some argue this third option could have lasting consequences for Senate traditions. Here's the kicker. Senator Markwayne Mullin insists these drastic moves might never have been needed if Democrats had played fair from the beginning. But others question, is it fair for any president to expect blanket approval of nominees? Or is this level of resistance simply the Senate doing its job? So where do you stand? Are Democrats right to stand firm? Or is it time for the Senate to change the rules and clear the logjam? Do recess appointments break the spirit of checks and balances? Or are they a necessary response to gridlock? Drop your thoughts in the comments. This is one debate that deserves every perspective.